Hey everyone, how are y'all holding up? I'm sure everybody is counting down the seconds until we get the reprieve of spring break. It's so close yet so far. I wanted to come on and just give a couple of gentle reminders about some things we have coming up in the schedule. I also wanted to show you how I altered the schedule so that some of the assignments we have are actually going to be extra credit and therefore optional moving forward. And then I wanted to start to touch base about your final paper. I know I asked for topic ideas, and I've been slowly going through them, and I'm so excited to see these final papers. But I'm sure some of you are slightly worried about having to put together a 10 to 12 page paper, and I just wanted to start to address that. We have some time, so I don't want to throw everything at you right now. But first and foremost, happy April. We actually have our midterm due this week. So remember, there's no discussion post, there is no quiz, but you should be turning your midterm papers into me by midnight on Friday. Well, technically 11:59 on Friday. A few of you have shot me some emails with some questions, so if more questions arise as you are writing, please just send them my way and I'll do my best to get to them as quickly as I can. Remember, there is a specific prompt, so just check that out. Let me know if you have any questions about it. Now, I'm going to show you the changes that I have made to the upcoming schedule, so it's just clearly I can't talk and I need spring break. But hopefully this sort of lessens a bit of the burden of just having to juggle everything as we get towards the end of the semester. So if you go into our content tab, you'll notice at the top of this page, we now have a revised schedule. Right, so if you go ahead and open that up, you will be brought to a Word document that looks like this. So this week, normal week, like we've already talked about, right? The midterm essay is due. Starting next week, you will notice that I have put in yellow highlighter things that are extra credit. So if you want to go ahead and do the discussion post on McKinley and Marceau on week 12, then you can get up to 5 extra credit points for doing that. All right. Conversely, week 14, the quiz is going to be extra credit. And then in weeks 15 and 16, I've made the discussion post extra credit. This way, there's simultaneous things happening. On one hand, like I said, it's just taking away some of the work that you have to do for the course. And then it gives you a few opportunities to earn some extra credit points without conversely giving you extra work outside of the course to have to do. If you have any questions about that, just let me know and I will do my best to try to clarify things, but hopefully this is pretty straightforward. All right. Now, if we scroll down and, for example, go into Unit 3, our last unit, we're getting there. If you open it up, eventually it'll open. There we go. So if you notice, I have updated each week to indicate which items are extra credit. So hopefully that helps to just keep things a little bit clear. And then I've also added an area for your final paper for where you can go ahead and submit it. Now, you have until May 20th to turn this paper in. So you've got a good amount of time. And we have a few more checkpoints that I have built in along the way. So actually, I'm going to come out of Unit 3. I want to go back to Unit 2 first for a second. So if we go to Unit 2, we are currently here at week 11. Your midterm essay is due. But if you look at week 12, I am asking you by the 12th to turn in a list of at least 5 academic sources for your final paper. This is really just because I want you to start thinking about putting together your academic sources. To a certain extent, sometimes finding sources is really not that hard, but sometimes it can actually be a surprisingly hard thing to do. There might just not be that much written about your topic, or you might have to get a little creative and brainstorm things that are closely aligned to your topic. So this is why I'm asking you to start this next week, even though you have until May 20th to turn in the paper, because I don't want you to get to finals and be inundated with all your other work, start working on this paper and realize there's no sources. This is going to make you start thinking about it now. And it is 5 points, so turn it in. Now, as far as how to find academic sources, I'm going to actually go back out to your homepage, and I believe that last week or so, I sent you this announcement, which brings you to different library guides. What's great is we have guides that'll take you through different subjects. So come here, click on sociology. This takes us to the sociology homepage. It gives you the contact information for our librarian, Sandra Bozarth. She's fantastic. If you're having a hard time finding sources, you can of course reach out to me, but I also recommend making use of her services since we have her as a resource on campus. You can email questions, you can also call. And then the other thing that's helpful, or I think that's helpful, is they have research tutorials on here. So if we go ahead and click on that tab, eventually, it'll open up and there's info on how to find different sources of information, how to search for information, how you can synthesize and put information together. So this is going to be a great resource for you if you either have yet to put together a research paper, or, I mean, I hope you have at this point, but if you haven't, to at least give you some ideas of where to get started. I also gave you the link for this other library guide, which is about how to synthesize information and how to really make sure that you are dealing with an academic source, because I know sometimes that can be a source of confusion for students. So that's coming up next week. So definitely spend a little time thinking about that. Now, as far as the final paper, just more specifically, it is a 10 to 12 page research paper. All right, you are going to need, like I just was talking about, academic sources to vet the information that you are looking at. Now, I know it sounds daunting. Try not to think about it as this huge paper. Try to think about it as different parts. So in a research paper, you're going to want to give me an introduction, right? What is the issue at hand? Why are we looking at the issue at hand? What is going on? How does it connect to the sociology of medicine broadly? And then you're going to get into the meat of the substance. Now, here's where this gets a little tricky. You know, some of you might be looking at the pros and cons of an issue. Some of you might be sort of tracing the historical trajectory of an issue. You know, I don't know that I can give you a sort of prescribed format that you need to follow, because to a certain extent your topics are going to dictate how this whole thing should get written. You know, clearly if it's a pros and cons type thing, you're going to want to have enough room to give each side of the debate fully, right? And then there might be different aspects for each side of the debate. If you're tracing the history, right, starting at the origin and how this concept even came to be all the way up until now. So as we get going, as you get more solidified in your topic, then hopefully you'll have a better sense of where you want to go with this paper. Now, on that note, if we jump back to content, so remember the 12th, I would like to see at least a preliminary list of academic sources. And then if we jump into Unit 13 here, and you look at week 15, on May 3rd, I'm asking you for an outline of your final paper. So this was going to make you start thinking about how you're going to present the information at hand and what kind of research question or thesis question or statement you're working with. Like I said, we will definitely touch base about this a lot more in depth as we get past spring break and really start focusing on the final. But I did just want to come on really quickly, let you know of the changes that I made. And hopefully this takes a little bit of the stress off at the end of the semester for you, with these last rounds of assignments kind of becoming somewhat optional. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope that you are at least somewhat enjoying putting together your SCLUT midterm. I look forward to reading them, and I hope you all have a great week.